10 games, 10 wins on the trot, all the critiquing, all the doubting, everything that we thought would go down for India, considering the last 6 months, they have all been squashed, put away. They are a distant memory from another era at this point, because about 4.5 crore people were flying high on cloud 9 on Hotstar at one point. I'm sure whatever the rest of the population is, they felt the same way. But I chose two people, Dave and VS, to actually talk about how they felt this game. Dave, our resident India fan, what do you think of that performance and how do you feel right now?
Ecstatic, really, and also a sort of expected result when you come to see how the match progressed. We talked about this yesterday, Chris, that anyone who bats first generally tends to win at Wankhede, and that's how it panned out. India batted New Zealand out of the game. If a first batting total goes above 380 to 390, then usually you feel that the other team has been batted out of the game 9 out of 10 times. The second batting team has already lost the match, at a psychological level, unless the team is not named Australia. I feel like at that point of time they have lost the game psychologically. We even discussed it in the group that once the that big of a total was established, you feel like India has won. Secondly, that was a very well paced innings as well from India, peaking at right times, with Shreyas Iyer playing a blinder of an innings to finish. And I'm glad that Shreyas Iyer has found his feet as this sort of finisher, from who can bring the game from 30 over number 35th to 40th, and like have this blitzkrieg sort of a innings at the tail end of the innings and like tie the whole innings together. Also, dra- uh, you are right, Chris, in the sense that a lot of criticism of Indian team has been batted out of the park completely. Uh, but in the initial first two matches, not picking up Shami is looking really bad now, doesn't it? Because the guy picked up 7 wickets. He has been the pick of the bowlers for Indian team since he came back to the team, and he is the guy I think has galvanized this Indian bowling lineup properly, has made it more competitive as well, and has made this team feel more of a cohesive unit, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
as
How
a fan,
often did you see in the
a
same
fan
game?
who possibly is happier than they were with the result because he wanted more of a context. I just wanted India to win. And as a fan, I think there is a difference between your team winning convincingly, and your team absolutely dominating. And we have been doing the latter, and we haven't been doing it just for a few games. We have been doing it on the run for the road throughout the tournament. At this point, our team looks basically unstoppable, because if we are asked to bat first, we are putting up an insurmountable total for the opponents to scale. If we are asked to bowl first, we are restricting them to tiny, measly totals, which doesn't even really stretch the hands of our top order batsmen. So anything, if at all, let's say South Africa or Kangaroos were to reach the finals and by some chance beat India, that would be a miracle. It's likely not happening. And today, just like what Dave said, just look at how the match turned out. The openers, so Rohit Sharma comes in, and he doesn't really take much time getting into the groove. He starts off in good flow, and he just keeps going till he gets out, and he's already put up some 15-year runs in 30 odd balls. And Shubman Gill has been partnering him really well. And Shubman Gill, let's not forget that he wasn't out; he was only retired hurt. And the retired hurt, when New Zealanders thought that that would be enough to win advantage, enter the man of the moment, the goat, the legend, Virat Kohli. We are not going to escape.
Uh, Yeah, I think VS is not with us at the moment, so I will just quickly take up this Rohit Sharma point. I think we pointed him out as an impact player last stream, and I like this role which Rohit Sharma has taken up, in the sense that he has understood that he is the senior player. He needs to go. He's the senior partner in the opening partnership, and he needs to reduce pressure on Shubman Gill. So he starts off and just goes from ball one and scores these rapid fire 40s and 50s, which
Hey, I
is
have a
good for
Yeah.
question, man.
Shubman Gill.
I was
It gives
talking
him
Hey,
about
time
just
to settle.
I was talking about Virat Kohli and the stream just cut off. Even the stream cannot handle the greatness that Kohli has been shining down upon us from great heights.
that's true. Or StreamYard is just owned by
Yeah,
somebody in
on this occasion,
Australia.
you have to remember. I mean, put it into words. Shreyas Iyer. I kind of hate the fact that Shreyas Iyer came in after Kohli. I mean, I loved his innings, but then he stole the limelight. But let's not forget what Kohli has just achieved. He has scored 50 international centuries in ODIs right now, overtaking the one and only Sachin Tendulkar. He has also in the same match ended or played a major part in ending India's bogey team, India's curse whenever ICC tournaments comes to happen. New Zealand. He also overtook Ricky Ponting, the Australian captain, who is not exactly a fan favorite in India. So Indians are going to be celebrating that as well. He overtook them for total number of runs scored in ODI, and the steel the man has shown throughout the tournament. Because I remember Deba and Khandal discussing yesterday that even if Indian top order, the openers were to get out cheaply, Virat Kohli seems to have that mindset where he's going to come in and he's not gonna throw away his wicket cheap. I mean, getting Virat Kohli out on a low score is always credits to the bowler or some exceptional fielding, because he is not going to throw away his wicket. He's going to stay there. He's going to take the game through. And let's just take a moment. I don't know what we do when we want to celebrate a moment. When somebody dies, we take a moment of silence, right? But then what do we do to take a moment when somebody does something great? Yeah, let's take a moment and cheer on the greatness that Virat Kohli has shown. And I think as fans, we have witnessed two of the greatest ODI
That's true.
batsmen, not just in India, but in the world. Most of us grew up watching Sachin Tendulkar. We grew up watching our parents switching off the TV and leaving when Sachin Tendulkar goes out. And here
I
we
grew
are
up
with
watching
adults
Ponting,
with
but whatever.
yeah, but then see how the transition happened. Like, our parents are put everything on Sachin Tendulkar, and here we are as grown-up adults with, strained necks and back pain, supporting Virat Kohli, and he almost saves us every single time. So, yeah, just a shout out to the greatness that Kohli has shown, not just in this tournament, but throughout his career. And just the athleticism, man. I think the level of athleticism that Virat Kohli shows on a cricket pitch right now is simply unmatched, because this is a guy who can score a century in 105 balls without ever scoring a single boundary. He can just run the 100 runs and he will still keep going. So, moving on from Kohli, now that we have taken the due time which he thoroughly deserves, Kriska, what do you think went right for India, and what do you think Australians need to be scared about, if at all they were to face them in the final?
Okay, so for the sake of this episode, I'm going to talk as if Australia is already into the finals. That said,
Bold, bold of you to
so,
assume.
well, when you win the cup more times than any other team in the history of the game in this format in men's cricket, I think I've earned the right to be cocky, so I'm going to continue be that. That said, everything about this India team is scary right now. We have been expecting, so not just uh, fans like me who want to see India's downfall. Uh, Nothing personal. It's just they're the biggest challenge for Australia. Or India fans like yourself, we have all been waiting for that inevitable collapse. We thought at first it will come
Yeah.
against New Zealand in the group stages, but no, that was a crushing win there. Then we thought South Africa, who had been unbeaten, will put up at least a decent fight, and they blew them away like some mosquito in my room. and now to do that against New Zealand in the knockouts. So where does it stop? And I also don't know at what point you start believing this is your time, right? So even now I see India fans being really wary of celebrating too much, despite the fact that they have had the most dominant run. Like I was saying at the beginning, 10 wins in 10 games. Only one team in the history of men's ODI has had a better record in a World Cup, that is Australia in 2003 and 2007. Both the tournaments we finished with 11 on 11 wins, and that team is spoken about as the Invincibles. Like, if you were to pick up an ODI 11 from the same team across, different eras, it would be that 2003 or 2017. And this India team, if you look at um, purely on the basis of scores and dominating performances, they've actually outdone that Australia side. But still, there is this, sense of uneasiness. How long is it gonna last? I'm not gonna be celebrating too much until I see
See,
the
man,
cup in the hands of.
I think we generally tend to be a little bit, what to say, superstitious at times. We just don't want to celebrate too early because we are worried that our celebration might jinx something. And sometimes we don't want to celebrate too early because if something were to go wrong, people make fun of us. So I think those two like very minor fears are the only reasons why Indians are kind of held back. Because if you were to ask somebody to somebody who's not very image conscious, which is definitely not me, if you think India will win the World Cup, I think the correct response would be a hell yeah. Because the kind of domination that the team has been putting up, there doesn't seem to be any major weaknesses in the batting lineup. Because every game these guys are producing, and no one gets out cheaply. Nobody's throwing away wickets, and it's a really continuous and steady supply of runs that doesn't seem to stop at all. Not at least while they are playing in Indian subcontinent. And you're talking about playing in Indian subcontinent. Deva, remember you were telling that India playing in Indian subcontinent, and BCCI having the influence to make some calls on what gets the nod and what doesn't, has or you think might have a small difference to make in the results.
Yeah, so I think there have been a number of controversies in that matter with regards to pitches and things like that, with BCCI having control over what sort of pitches are being made, which strip
Make
they're
make
playing
it
in,
more
and
specific, man.
things
Like
like that.
by pitches,
Huh?
do you mean to say that BCCI tends to favor India by not making pitches that suit swing bowling or pace bowling?
Yeah, no, more even more like certain stadiums being preferred over certain stadiums when it comes to knockout games. Like for example, I don't think it's a coincidence that BCCI put the game in Wankhede for the semi-final instead of a pitch like Bangalore, which would have given the other team more of a chance to actually beat India. Also, I don't think uh, okay, this is just my opinion, but I don't think that India is losing the World Cup final in the Narendra Modi Stadium. It's just the setup is just too perfect in that sense, and I think if even if the final is against Australia, I think India is winning that final simply because where it is being held, the timing of the final in an election year, I think India
Right.
is winning in that
I
sense.
think it's kind of stretching a bit to say that. I mean, definitely there has to be some type of political posturing involved to rename a stadium after the current prime minister. But I think it's kind of stretching it to say that that would indirectly have a result or an impact on the on-field game. And also the fact that you mentioned, let's say if the match was happening in Chepauk or somewhere down south or even up north in Dharamshala or somewhere, uh, a stronger bowling pitch doesn't just favor one team, given the kind of bowling lineup that India has. Because
Yeah,
do you
sure,
think
but
Mohammad Shami
No,
on a good swinging wicket would be an easy opponent to face for any batsman or even Siraj for that matter?
yes, I think I get where Dave is coming from when he suggests there are certain types of pitch which suits any cricket team. That is a well-known fact. There is a reason why James Anderson, one of the greatest bowlers, is called James Clouderson under the Manchester skies, or for that matter, Mitchell Stark or somebody like Scott Boland is world class in Australia pitches, but they don't seem to be as potent anywhere else.
But then
and
again,
see, my point
yeah, go ahead, go
my
ahead.
point wasn't that for example, my point wasn't that key, okay, in a more swinging pitch, Indian bowlers won't perform. My point was that key, if a pitch is smaller in size, let's just say the Bangalore ground, it gives more of a chance for the opponent to match India's batting firepower, let's just say, which
Okay, the other way around.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
batting firepower. And if it is a spinning track, let's just say somewhere like in Chennai, even if Indian spinners are really good, we have seen other teams coming and using their spinners very effectively against India as well. uh, in a pitch like Wankhede, with a team which has a lot of players from Mumbai playing in, or like players who are used to playing in Wankhede a lot, uh, it was always going to be an India win. And I don't think India is losing at Ahmedabad either. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
Uh,
I would
I
very much request you to clarify that. So, you think India is not allowed to lose on Ahmedabad pitch, or India, because of its very clear cut sporting merit, will not be beaten in Ahmedabad pitch?
Can I say it's a bit of both? No, sporting merit wise, I think India is winning. India has been the most dominant team in this World Cup and the best team in this World Cup, in my opinion. But it's also the fact that I don't think that India is losing, considering where the World Cup is World Cup final is being played. And I will just leave it at that. I don't want to invite further controversy.
Kriska, what happened to you, man? Your stream, your video seems to be stuck somewhere, just like West Indies squad. What's happening? What's going on at your end?
Yeah, I have no idea.
No
I'm glad
movement.
at least you could hear me fine. I think it's my brain finally processing the reality that India is going to steamroll. Actually,
See,
coming to
Kriska,
terms with it.
I can very much pretend
Can you hear me
that I
fine?
have
If you can
understood
hear me
what you
now,
said, but then
I will continue
I don't
speaking.
think you are I don't think I'm getting you. Right now
Yeah,
you are like the aggressive Srishants of the mid 2010s, and I'm Ricky Ponting. I don't get you,
I
mate.
don't think I don't think anyone is getting what Chris is saying. Just like no one is getting how Shami is bowling this entire tournament.
7 wickets, 7 wickets
Seven
in a match
wickets.
in a semi-final. Also, incidentally, the I think this is the most 5 wicket hauls any bowler ever has taken in the history of Cricket World Cup. No, no small achievement by any means. So I think this was a fourth, fifth 5 wicket haul that Shami has taken this tournament, right?
Yeah, Shami is incredible. I think even in the beginning of the tournament, there were calls to include him in the starting lineup. There was a bit of controversy as to how long the bowling lineup would be, and everyone, and I think a lot of experts, so to speak, were like, adding of Shami lengthens the bowling and shortens the batting. So the Shami not
But
being added
that
is
doesn't that
okay,
doesn't seem to be a
but
problem when the adding
yeah,
of
yeah,
Shami
yeah.
shortens the other team's batting. He's not just
Yeah,
shortening our batting.
exactly.
You put Shami in the team, the opponent's batting. At the end of the day, if you look at it, he's also a pretty. I don't want to use anything negative to talk about Shami today. Not after what he's done. So I will just
No,
say,
no,
at
no.
the end of the day, he's not the best fielder around. And then again, he also shortens our batting lineup. But he's still in that team because the net gains are very high. You take away the losses and you
Yeah.
talk about the gains. He definitely shortens your batting lineup, but then he takes 7 wickets and reduces the other team's batting lineup to just 3 players. So the experts or the fans or the press who were thought, including even one of us who were thought that Shami did not deserve a place in our team, does not really deserve to comment on Shami at least until this tournament ends. What a player!
I
What a performance!
Yeah, it's a bit incredible that such an elite bowler was being talked about in the sense that his career is down in a downward spiral, or like he is not going to come in and start bowling well. He just shut everyone up. It's incredible the sort of
Kriska
form
has
he's in.
started moving, man. Hey, man, what's up? Have you come back from your dinosaur era where Wi-Fi and internet doesn't
And
exist? What century are you living in?
I will wait for my comeback this Sunday when we crush you in front of 100,000 of you folks in the stadium and millions more on Hotstar and Star Sports. I have to hold off what I want to say sporting wise because our semifinals is still not over. But touching on the 100,000 stadium and little bit of nonsense that they was spewing right before this, lot of which were, with all due respect, hindsight bias. Let's face it, Dave. None of us thought India would be having a run like this. And these schedules and stadiums, they were finalized at a time when you didn't even know if your best bowler in the team and in the world, he was actually going to be playing the tournament. And number two, you didn't know if India were gonna make it to the knockouts, to Wankhede, to finals. So it's still like having, the final be played at India's largest stadium for the sheer sporting spectacle it is. It's the best way to go, regardless of India is in the set finals or not. So I think you are reading up a little bit too much into that. With the benefit of hindsight, if India had crashed and burned in the group stages, this would have been a non-discussion to begin with.
I don't think that there was any scenario where, even though in at the start of the tournament there was this doubt about India's best combination, if certain Indian players are in form or not in form, what is going to be India's bowling lineup. Even with all that, I don't think anyone expected India to crash and burn out of the group stages, simply because India, even if it is a bad Indian team, in India they perform well regardless. That has always been the case. So I think the minimum that anyone expected in a World Cup that is happening in India, out of the Indian team, was at least
Come,
a semi-final run.
come on, man.
Even
Okay,
if even if India had lost a game or two on that run, I don't think anyone
yeah.
expected India to
They
crash out of the
the
group
only
stages.
the only distinction
Semi-final
there
was
is,
the
if India
semi-final
had.
was the minimum India was
Yeah,
going to
yeah, I
go, at
got that
least.
point. But the difference is if India had lost a couple of games or just qualified like South Africa or Australia, India would have been playing this game in Bangalore and not Wankhede. So there itself, your point sort of becomes null and void. I think you just have to, you know, bow down at this point and admit that you got a little bit carried away by India's superior performance, unless VS wants to step in and try to save this argument for you.
Yeah, I'm not saving nobody's argument, but then I see when let's not hide it. I mean, let's not pretend that it doesn't exist because you don't address the elephant in the room doesn't mean that the elephant ceases to exist. So, cricket historically in India, at least since we won the World Cup in '83, it is more than just a sport. I mean, it's a very cliche definition that newspapers tend to use and overuse and again. But people use it so often because it holds some value. Cricket is religion over here, and cricketers are God. And in a country like ours, as big and wide, with a sport wielding such a mass influence over people, it is only reasonable to expect that certain people in certain positions might very well want to leverage the after effects or the glimmer that the sport might bring in. Now the question should be, is that necessarily wrong? I don't think the question exists if that is being done or not, because we have seen BCCI historically has also been ruled by the members of one particular political party. When you look at it from the back in the day, it was a lawyer who passed away recently, Arun Jaitley. It was Arun Jaitley. Then
Mm-hmm.
it went to Anurag Thakur, and right now we have the cute
Jai
little
Shah.
guy. What is his name? Yeah, Jay Shah.
Jai Shah.
Jay Shah taking the reins of BCCI. So you put it against the background. Okay, this sport, it wields a lot of influence, and us being a democratic country, influence matters a lot. And we in our country, all of us, including the three of us, we respect cricketers. But then to expect that people who have certain powers, people who have a certain influence on the game, to just be bystanders and try to not to take off some of that sheen is unreasonable. And Kriska, I'll just tell you one thing. You are probably right when you said that there was no guarantee that India was making it all the way to the final to have it in the Ahmedabad stadium. But in such a situation, in such a scenario, sometimes you just set the stage and hope that the dancers perform, which is one thing I would definitely say that we have done. Now, the question if there is something wrong about it or not is something entirely different, and I'm conveniently skipping answering that question. But I would very much agree with Dave that the stage was set and the team happened to perform.
Perfect that.
So it's well and good. It's playing into the script at the end of the day. The script was
Okay,
always
And
there.
fair enough.
I'll still stick to the fact that India was always expected to make it to the semi-final at least. There was a
Yeah.
chance that
And
India might have
I
lost
just want to
the
say one
semi-final,
thing.
but
We have addressed the one political angle of it, and there is nothing wrong with it. But then at the end of the day, let's not try to take away the shine from many of the players, because these guys have gone out there, represented the country,
definitely,
and done
definitely.
a massive job. The team absolutely seems invincible, and the kind of aura that Kriska said that that was some copyrighted exclusive matter of Cricket Australia. Times have changed, old man. Grow up.
We'll see if you carry the same cockiness and smirkiness when we see each other
Kriska,
this Sunday.
I'll just tell you how we will be discussing, if at all the final were to happen. The reaction video after the India Australia final at SCW will look something like this. Watch me. You know what that is? That's me looking down upon you, man.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm
one
not
thing
giving
I
any
will
punches. I'm very much confident in my team.
One, one thing I will ask, like, say tomorrow's South Africa versus Australia game goes the way Chris wants it to go, and we see a Australia-India final, and India wins the final. Will that make the current Indian team the best World Cup winning side we have seen so far? Like, will it put it on the same tier as the 2003 Australian team, or will it make it will it be slightly above that? And maybe we can close on this point. If
Above.
it
Nice. Hey, Dave, once you're done with this, you should check out this place in Gachibowli, where you are from. They have this lovely stand up club. You have a lot of interesting takes that will, you know, yeah, have some good reactions from the crowd. Because that's not good cricketing opinions, my fan.
Hey, come on, are you saying that Bumrah isn't better than Brett Lee?
Come on, guys. This hey, first of all, if you're gonna compare Bumrah, it had to be against Glenn McGrath, who is the goal, right? When it comes to fast bowling. So the difference is India, despite not having as many world class players as Australia in its peak had, has managed to put in performances at notch
Yeah,
higher than
exactly.
Australia. So
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
maybe
And I just
on
want to highlight
paper,
that,
Also,
that I will give
before
credit to them.
this, man, see, before this tournament happened, the question if there is a side that can equal the cricket Australia in World Cups was what that question did not exist, because it's obvious cricket Australia 2003, the team under Ricky Ponting, there is no comparing them to anybody. But at the end of this tournament, Kriska, that is a debate at the very least,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Also,
Yeah,
I
that
think
is what India has achieved.
that's true.
I will,
That's
I
true.
will
And at
just
the
I will just add a little bit to what we have said. I think what makes that 2003 Australian team that great was that they maintained that core, the same core of players, and carried them over to the 2007 World Cup and won that as well.
Yeah.
So if a basic core, say the Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, that batting core gets maintained with like maybe one or two changes, and the same bowling core gets maintained to the next World Cup. And if India wins that one, then it might not be a debate anymore. It will be a
yeah,
debate if India wins, but it might not be a debate after India wins the next one with the same core.
someone's been really smoking up on the India high. I will let them be today. That is all the option I have. But I will say this to the both of you, particularly VS. After Sunday, I don't need to adjust my camera angles. I don't need to push the chair away and stand up because I'll be sitting exactly where I am, and it is you two peasants who will have to stand up and bow down and recognize the greatness that oozes from Australia, that we just sprinkle it to the rest of the cricketing world. I will be in my due place in
Man,
this
Deva,
throne
trust
as the
me.
champions.
Next time we are together on a call, and I enter the camera after the final has happened. Kriska is gonna be jumping away from his seat like how kangaroos do in Australia, because he wouldn't be wanting to face us. There's no other way to put it.
Enjoy while this lasts,
Fair enough.
gentlemen. I know this is a very
Yeah.
new feeling for you. I am new
Absolutely
to
enjoying it.
this.
So,
So,
for myself, Dave, and all the fellow India fans out there, times are good, guys. This time
We
it
eating
seems to
good.
be absolutely yes. So, hold nothing back, pull no punches, celebrate, elate, and be overjoyed. I'll
yeah,
see you guys
because
again in the next time, and thank you
it's
for
gonna
joining
come
us.
crashing
So that
down
was
someday.
Kriska and Deva with me. Bye, guys. Signing off.
See ya.